cancer who are American citizens should be deported?
Nothing.
Looks like it's all the Democrats and none.
Your bill will deport more kids who are American citizens with cancer.
I don't think they want to answer that.
The silence is deafening.
Would the
It
gentleman
tells us
yield?
everything we need.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Let's do it a different way. How about this? Raise your hand if you do not think children with cancer who are American citizens should be deported.
Nothing.
Looks like it's all the Democrats and none.
Your bill will deport more kids.
Peace and love, and welcome to Let It Be Known.
Let it be known. And let
All
it be
right.
that I'm on time, too. I made it.
I'm glad. Stacy's out today, so riding shotgun. Oh, I love saying that. Is none other than the very funny J.Anthony Brown. Welcome to Let It Be Known.
Welcome. Glad. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking about me to put me on because the topics you guys have are very interesting. This is
Yes.
we're in difficult times, very difficult times,
Very difficult times. And
very,
Stacey-
very difficult. Yes.
Stacy is glad
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
are holding it down till he comes
What,
back.
what's that word when you used to calm yourself down? Woosah. Yeah, you got to.
Okay, Jay, but let's talk about that video. Raise your hand if you don't think legal citizen children with cancer.
That shouldn't have been the question.
What's the
The question should have been, raise your hand if you're going to kiss Trump's ass. That should have been the question, and
That-
see the hands go up, or raise your hands if you agree with what the president is doing, because that's what's happening. These are the times that we're in. They're so afraid of being, attacked by Donald Trump that they're going to go along with no matter what he says, no matter what. He just signed a law that you have to speak English to drive, I like
Trucks.
Uber or taxi or something like that in LA.
Yeah.
Drive a bus to drive. So yeah.
I mean, it is crazy at what's happening on Capitol Hill, but there's a lot of headlines, Jay, coming out of the Trump Plan administration. That's what I call them. I call them the Trump Plan administration. That was just one of them. But another one is the U.S. Department of Justice has ended a decade-old school desegregation order. Now, it started in Louisiana, and other states are expected to follow. And the most important thing about this story is that research on districts released from orders like this has found that many saw greater increases of racial segregation compared to those under the court order. So we about to be separate but equal. Is that a good direction?
Well,
to go
separate. I'll be 74 on my next birthday, and I remember the phrase "separate but equal." It was never separate but equal. It was separate but unequal. The white schools got more funding than the black schools. They had better teams, better uniforms for their teams. So a lot of the money went to those areas. And when they segregated, they only segregated the white schools, meaning the white schools stayed predominantly white, and they built those schools up. So if that's going to happen again, I know it's going to happen. I lived through it. I know what it's like. So
And you were raised in the South.
yeah, I
so-
was raised in the South. And the thing about the South that most people don't understand, the South war, but like before the war, meaning segregation, discrimination against black people. So even though they lost the war, they won the battle and were allowed to do whatever it is they wanted to do in the South, which is what we might be going back to.
Yeah, we're definitely going back to that. And we want to say good morning to our Let It Be Known family. Of course, Orange G Swag Sports is checking in. Now, Jay, Orange G, he has Crown Fridays, HBCU Fridays.
Who has done
And
this?
now this is one of our Let It Be Known family members
Oh,
in the
okay.
chat. His name is Orange G. And he's saying happy swag hoodie day. And I'm wearing Alabama A&M today. I'm not, I don't have a HBCU on, but I have a black newspaper. I have on the LA Sentinel. You know a little something
Oh
about the
yeah, the
Sentinel.
Sentinel in
Yeah.
LA, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
One
we're
of the few
rocking that.
remaining black papers that exist. Yeah. One of
That
the
is
few.
not true. There's over 200
Oh,
black.
really? But there, at one time, Neil, there was more than that. There was thousands. There was
I don't
thousands
think
of.
so. Hey, we're
You don't go
accurate
back
here.
that far. I'm just.
No, we're
Well, you want to be
accurate.
up on game. They still say that. Do they still
Yeah,
say up
they
on?
still say they still say that. They still say that. Another thing we do here on Let It Be Known, Jay, is we do a Black History pop quiz every day, Monday through Friday. And so
Okay.
let's set it up. Greer, are we ready for our pop quiz question? There it is, Jay. Who was the black man whose death at the Boston Massacre lit the first fire of the American Revolution?
Christmas addict.
Okay, well, we're gonna hold it to the end. That's your choice, and you stick with it. I'm gonna check the chat and see if we have any
I think that's the
answers
name. I
coming
don't know.
in.
I'm not sure.
So
Mhm.
we're gonna keep that out there. And let's continue our headlines. Speaking of education, the Trump clan has pulled the plug on 1 billion in school mental health grants, citing civil rights concerns.
I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not. I am not surprised by anything that comes out of this Trump of the Trump group.
Clan.
Nothing.
It's the Trump
Nothing
clan.
surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
They keep
Mm-hmm.
topping themselves about what they can do. I don't know why anybody is surprised. And here's the thing I've said on some stage: if you guys had listened to the signs, you wouldn't be home making signs because we tried to tell you. Everybody tried to tell you. And I also say to my black people, don't go out there in them streets. Don't go out, but support your white friends who do. Do not go out there in them streets because martial law is coming and he's not a man.
Mm, mm.
It's coming.
Let our allies, let our white allies do the marching for us.
Let
That's
them
what you're
march
telling
out
us.
there.
Let them go out there. I get it.
Right
I get
on.
it.
We with you.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad that you brought up marching because there's more. So
There's a yeah.
the FBI agents who kneeled during George Floyd's protest during the protest in 2020, they have been reassigned to less favorable roles without any explanation. So the FBI agents that kneeled and acknowledged the injustice and the murder of George Floyd, now they have been assigned to lower level jobs. About
Do you
a
know who's
little
in
over.
charge of the FBI? Cash Patel?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that looked like he's wide awake all the time.
And sometimes one eye goes this way and one
Someone
goes
I
that way.
I'm not surprised. Yes. Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah, they're gonna retaliate at anything that does anything you go against Trump, you're gonna get retaliated against. Right. So I'm surprised that they still have jobs. They might all end up getting fired.
But the
If
scary part about this for me is that if they're going all the way back to 2020, what else are they paying attention to or coming after? I mean, that was back in 2020. I mean, I didn't even
whatever,
know they
whatever,
nailed.
whatever he wakes up with and says this would be a good idea to make this against the law. That's
Mm-hmm.
what he'll do. That's what Trump's gonna do. For the next. And here's the sad part. He's only been in office 100 and maybe 2 days. He's done more damage than he did the last when he was in office for 4 years in 100 days.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, here's another story. I think this is one you wanted to talk about. So, in more dysfunctional Trump clan behavior, the White House is out of control. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has been pushed out by Donald Trump. 45 and 47 has planned, but he has plans to nominate Mike as ambassador
To
of
the
the
U- to the United Nations,
UN.
which Trump doesn't really give a damn about the United Nations. So it's basically he's sending him away. But it really was Pete Hexes's fault for linking people into there. He had his wife, he had his brother, he had his accountant. So Pete Hegseth keeps his job, and it makes it look like, well, Trump's dealing with the problem. He's going to fire Mike, but Mike wasn't really a down to earth Republican, because once you say anything about the king, you might lose your job.
Well, the thing that makes, do you use Signal? Have you downloaded the
No, I've
Signal
never
app?
used Signal. No.
Uh-huh. So I have a Signal account with the group, and I was like, Signal, what is that? And then all of a sudden it becomes this national headline because the dummies in the Klan administration are using Signal when they have much more secured forms of communication to use. And so why do you think that he is still deciding to keep Pete instead of getting rid of him?
Because it will look as if he made a mistake by choosing him. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to fire anybody to admit this is a bad person. You got to understand all the people who've been fired by Trump or let go. It's because he let them go, and or either they quit or either he send them off to a foreign land, and it doesn't make him look like I made a bad decision. The simple thing would be I made a bad decision by picking Pete Hegseth. I call him Pete Halfpint. Um, it doesn't make me look bad by picking this guy. I'm gonna say I'm sorry and I got to get somebody else. So it's easy to make Wall the fall guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then it looks like he's doing something. It looks like, I mean, when you come out and say Pete Hegseth is going to get it together,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean you're really serious about, really finding, dealing with the problem because it's Hegseth's problem. He's in charge, not Wall.
Right,
So,
right,
but
right, right.
Wall's the fall guy. And they
Well,
didn't really like him anyway.
you know who else is the fall guy and it has to pick up the slack? State Secretary Mark Rubio, because now not only is he
Rubio's got like 9 jobs now.
yeah, he's the Secretary of
Rubio is
State.
like
Wait, he's the Secretary of State. And Trump
one,
said, "Oh, we want you to fill the vacancy now for National
two,
Security Advisor."
3.
What am I missing? I'm just like, what are they doing?
Rubio is like, for lack of a better word, is like a Jamaican. He's got like 9 jobs now.
No wonder he looks so stressed. Every time they show a picture of him, he's either looking bewildered, he's looking stressed, he's looking irritated, but he doesn't smile anymore.
Well, just think about your job. Just think about anybody's job. When they keep adding on things for you to do, you mess up. There's no way you can
Uh-oh.
handle if they keep coming with do this, do that, do this, do that, something gets something you lack in some department, which is
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen with Marco Rubio. But the real person in the White House is this lady that he's hanging out with. What is her name? You know her name.
It's a few of them. It just
No,
depends on the day of the week.
no, I can't think of it. It'll come to me anyway. She was the one that suggested that some people should be fired, and Trump fired them. You know who I'm talking
I
about.
think she has black hair, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. The white girl with black hair. We'll just call
Yeah.
her that.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Good morning to David Youngblood and Sandy Jones who are checking in to the chat. You guys feel free to comment on these conversations. And Greer, can you put up our Black History Pop Quiz question so we can put it back out there so we can start getting some answers? Jay, who did you say the person
I
was?
think it's Christmas Addicts. I
Somebody put that in the chat. David Youngblood put that in the chat. He did. He did. He put that
yeah.
in the chat. The question is, who was the black man whose death at the Boston Massacre lit the first fire of the American Revolution? And David Youngblood says Crispus Attucks. So we got two for the same. Okay,
I'm not
let's see
sure
who
if
this
that's
one.
right, but it might be. I don't know.
Well, somebody's on the same page as you. And finally, coming out of the Trump clan, we are really going to be looking for, can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Okay. Last night, Trump had Sesame Street on his mind, and he sent an order to defund NPR and PBS.
What people have to understand about an executive order, it's not a law. It's not a
Right.
law. It does.
Right.
It has to be voted on, but it puts fear. Like I can make an executive order for anybody, just using this, anybody light skinned can't run a radio show, yada yada yada. So it's not a law, but it puts fear into people's head. Oh, we might get cut. So he's signed over maybe 300 or 400 executive decisions. They're not laws, and I just think people should just, simmer down and not worry about, because these aren't laws. These are just, he scratched his ass and came up with an idea. That's my opinion.
And you're saying let the white allies do the marching.
Let them, yes, stay out them streets. Yeah,
Let
when
the
Becky
allies
comes back and tell you she protests, you say, right on, we with you.
and then I'm gonna say, where my fans at?
Yeah, my fan.
Where my fans at? No, but Mike V wants good morning, Mike V. He wants to know from you, Jay. He wants you to speak on Trump's willingness to bring in white folks from South Africa, but willing to deport black folks back to Africa.
I keep telling y'all, stop being surprised by what Trump does. Don't be surprised by what he does. He is a racist. He's a bigot. He's a sex offender, and he's in charge of the United States of America. He made a comment the other day. I run America, and I run the world. And you
Mm,
don't. You really don't. You don't. You
mm,
don't. Stock market's falling. Unemployment's going to be very high when the numbers come out. It's going to be you can't fire that many people and think your numbers are going to be great. So
right. Orange G says, "Good morning, sir."
he's already let a white South African in, Elon Musk.
Yeah, and I think he's having lots of regrets because it seems like Tesla is looking for a new replacement for him. So, I guess there was some truth in they say that's why corporate Americans or people in corporate leadership do not get involved in politics. They typically vote. They typically put money into both parties because corporate CEOs getting involved in politics always causes problems from them and their pockets.
Well, Jeff Bezos is involved in politics. Starbucks is involved in politics. A lot of these major companies contributed to the Trump campaign.
But they
You
do
know,
both. They
They
do
they
both.
but they gave more to one than they did the other. And Jeff Bezos the other day, when he was gonna put, the increase on TikTok, he got a call from from Carrot Top, and he got a call from Carrot Top, and
Yup.
he stopped that. That stopped right away. Yeah. Once
Well,
Orange Julius calls you, it's over with, man.
okay. Look, so since we're talking about consumer goods, have you been boycotting? Have you been boycotting Target?
I don't shop at I go to Target because that's where I get my meds from. But I haven't bought anything out of Target. I will not buy anything out of Target because they have a drugstore inside Target. But I don't shop at Target anymore. And Target's feeling it.
You sound
Target's
wait, stop. You sound like a half part-time boycotter. Walgreens
yeah, I
saying
might be
yes,
I might be a
they
halftime
have pharmacies. Why are you still going to Target?
because it's right across the street.
It's a full boycott. You got to
It's
sacrifice.
well, I'm
Stop.
telling let them know it's right across the street.
But listen, the Target CEO Brian Connell's pay has declined by 45% because of the Target boycott. Now, Nikema Levy, Jay, we had her on about a week or two ago, and basically the Target boycott started in Minneapolis. That's where the headquarters of Target is. And
Uh-huh.
so she posted yesterday that the Target CEO failed to meet several performance measures, which lowered its equity awards, dropping his pay to $9.9 million. Now, that ain't nothing to be sad about, but I guess for a millionaire, 45% of his pay being decreased, that's a huge drop for him.
Well, you got to understand, the boycott, it hurts them where the money is. When look at Tesla, down 70%. You can't do physically anything to Elon Musk, but you can stop buying his product. That's when they started to take notice. And I understand that Reverend Al Sharpton was supposed to go and meet
He
with the
did. That,
CEO of Target. I heard that.
okay. No, no, no. That Jay, I don't know if you heard all the details, but that was a big mess. That was a huge mess, you know, because Al was nowhere near the Target boycott. Okay. You had the people over in Minneapolis, that's a whole nother story.
So
But
that's why they were all up in arms, like, how the hell why y'all call Al?
right. And why would Al take the meeting? Okay, Jamal Bryant, and then it's like, where's Jamal? Al releases a picture, okay, with the CEO, but there's no Jamal Bryant in the picture. There's no Nikema Levy in the picture. And then Al said, first he said he was gonna take the message back to the boycott leaders. And then the people got so mad the next day. He said, "Oh, Jamal was there," and now everybody's like, "Well, where is the picture? Where's the picture with Jamal?"
Well,
So
you
I don't
gotta
know.
you gotta understand, Al. This is an opportunity to make himself relevant, and so quite naturally he was gonna take the meeting,
Mm.
because
Well, it looks like the meeting didn't help because it went from a boycott to a church fast. Now it's back to 100% boycott, and now the CEO is losing money. So whatever they talked about with Al
it
Sharpton,
didn't help.
it didn't help. Didn't help. They talked to the wrong Target. You talked to the wrong people.
Okay, here's
That's
what
what
I'm gonna
happened.
do. I'm gonna stop going to Target to get my meds. I'm gonna go to, but the store that I'm gonna go to, they're gonna be next on the boycott. So what do I do?
But see, folks, that is what you call a caucus. A caucus, J. Anthony Brown. That's what you call a
Yeah,
caucus.
but if I switch to Walmart, Walmart's next on the.
It doesn't matter. Target is the bullseye. Bullseye is Target. Yes, good for you, Jay. Okay, so let's move on. One of your buddies, one of your comedy buddies. I'm talking about Mr. Bill Cosby. Looks like he's
Hey,
having
hey,
some.
hey.
It looks like he's having some financial troubles. So Cosby is selling his 6.9 million Upper East Side New York townhouse after defaulting on the mortgage. Now it's reported that the 87-year-old comedian owes 17.5 million through foreclosures that's filed against his LLC, not him personally. So that's smart. But yeah, it looks like Dr. Cosby is having some
Well, I
financial
wouldn't buy
troubles.
that place if I were you. It's full of wine and sleeping pills. So
Oop,
don't.
oop.
Whoop, whoop. There's wine and sleeping pills all through the house.
No, that was years ago. That was
You,
years
you think he
ago.
cleaned it out by now?
Look, now he got some of that good Kool-Aid you used to like. For those of you who don't know, J. Anthony Brown became very popular for his Def Jam comedy bit about Kool-Aid. Do people still ask you to do that?
Oh my God, that and watch out there now. If I had a nickel, just a nickel for every time somebody came up to me and I make Kool-Aid for my family, da 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 da. Yeah, if I had just one nickel, I'd be a rich man. Yeah.
Do you still do that bit?
No, no,
Uh-uh. And,
no.
and,
I
and
do
where did
watch out there now. I have
no,
to.
no, where did Watch Out There Now come from?
Oh my God, it's a long story, but we got time. You want to hear it?
Do the short version. Short version.
Okay. So we're doing the rehearsal for Def Jam. Doing the rehearsal, you had to do your opening joke and your closing joke. And one of the jokes I had in the opening and closing was about people laughing and covering their mouth if they didn't have nice teeth. The host stole my joke. He
Oh.
did it. He did it. He did it. He can say he did it. He did it. Okay. That's a common joke. I can say that's a common joke that a lot of people might use, but he did it. And it threw me off. Do they still off game?
Off game. I've never heard of that one. Maybe that's
Well, I'm
new.
using that. It
Okay.
threw me off. It threw me off. So I had to replace that with something else. So this is true. I go in the basement and I pray to give me another joke. And I had the watch out there now joke. The watch out there now joke came from when a white guy, friend of mine, took me to a hockey game. A black man crosses us and he goes, "Watch out, young fella." And I'm like, "Oh, that's how black people talk." I put it in, I do the joke, and the rest is history. I mean, when I did that joke, I've only watched Def Jam twice. but the audience went crazy. I mean,
Mm,
I wasn't even expecting the reaction that I got from it.
mm.
But
Now,
that's where Watch Out There Now came from.
is it Watch Out Dare Now or
Dare,
Watch
D-E-H, Dare,
DEH? Okay,
D-E-H.
Watch Out Dare Now.
Some
Okay,
people say there. Watch out there now. Like you, you're
that's not
educated. You
that's
went to
not
school. Watch out there now. Or I've heard watch out now or watch out.
it. All right, let's keep moving with these headlines. Tina Knowles is being celebrated along with her daughter Beyonce. Her book is the number one New York Times bestseller this
Wah,
week.
wah, wah.
Matriarch. Oh, is she a matriarch? Or how many kids do
She,
you have to have
I
to be
don't
a
know why
matriarch?
she became the matriarch because she's not the one that made Destiny's Child what they were. It was the dad.
It was
But
both
then
of them. It was
no,
both
it
of them.
was not. It was not both of them. It was not both of
She
them.
sold the clothes. She did the hair.
That was after the dad goes to all these clubs and say, "You got to see the." I get it. I get it. I'm not a big Tina Knowles fan, but I think that this should be a bonus book with the both of them if it has anything to do with Destiny's Child. Both, just like you say, Reverend Al, while he's meeting with Target,
What?
there's some way that he should be a part of this book if it has anything to do with Destiny's Child and Beyonce's success. Both
Okay,
of them should be there.
okay, I see what you're saying, but the book is not called "The Making of Destiny's Child." The
But that
book
it's
is
about
about
it. It had
no, no, no. The book is about her life, her journey, and part of her journey is birthing two superstars, Beyonce and Solange. That's
and
part
this
of
is
her
where the dad
story.
comes in. You don't birth two superstars unless you have sex with the daddy. Come on, Neil. Let's be real now.
Well, I mean, the daddy might be in chapter 6 or 7, but
It
this is
ain't in there
her
nowhere.
story. Yes, it is. She talked about it with Oprah. She talked about it with our forever First Lady Michelle Obama. Tonight, she is here in LA with Kiki Palmer and Jennifer Hudson. She said there's going to be a few surprise pop-ups from her family. This is her story. This is her journey.
Okay, I get her story, but her story should be connected to the daddy.
I
Even
mean,
though he's got two outside babies.
he's
E-
in one of the chapters. He's mentioned.
Even though he's got two, and you should bring the outside babies, her stepchildren. They should be in there.
Out of here. Get out of here. She talks about Michael Lawson in the book. She was married to him. So
I
it's
see him all the time.
oh, do you? And
Yeah, well,
oh, the Tyler Perry lot. Let's talk a little bit about it since we're here. You see him because you are assisted living, and he is what's the wild and crazy show he's on from Tyler
I
Perry?
don't know. What show is he on?
It's Beauty in Black.
Oh, really? He's the star in that?
He's
Good
one
for
of the
him.
stars. I mean, him. Remember Angie from All My Children?
Yes.
Him and Angie from All My Children, I forget her name. They have some of the best scenes on Beauty and Black. I'm
I gotta
talking
watch
about
it.
low down, dirty, cuss you out. Just
Really?
it's really good. It's really good.
I gotta see it. I gotta see it. Yeah.
So
Well,
you're
you can't say nothing bad to me about Mr. Perry. Nothing. I don't want to hear.
only
I don't. La 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 la.
the only thing I'll say about Tyler
La la
Perry.
la 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 la.
Listen,
la.
listen. He was at the Beyonce concert opening night with Oprah Winfrey, and they
He
were
was.
having a do-si-do Cowboy Carter good time. Okay. Okay.
Did you? What are the reviews from it?
Well, right now her daughter Rummy is stealing the show. She comes out during Beyonce's lullaby that she made for her children called Protector. And so now not only is Blue Ivy a part of the show, but Rummy has become a part of the show. And I mean it's rave reviews.
Well, what
Everybody,
about Jay-Z's kids? Are they in there? I mean, they not.
Rummy is one of the twins.
Oh,
And
one of the twins.
Blue
Okay.
Ivy is Jay-Z's daughter.
Okay. Well, here's the thing that people are saying on the internet. I saw this that people are saying, "Well, she's not selling out." I'm like, you ain't got to sell out when your tickets is $300 and $400. You ain't look. She gonna make money off of this tour regardless.
Yes,
Regardless.
yeah, and the tickets are selling out like by the time the concert.
By the time the concert, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like there's too many empty seats in the venue.
Would you go see it?
Oh, I am going. I'm going on the last night here in LA. I can't wait. I've been listening to the album so that
How
I know
much is your
the
ticket? How
words.
much you pay for your ticket?
See, my sister paid.
Sister, or sister?
My sister, what you mean?
You know, like my sister. She's my sister, or your real sister.
My real sister. She
Okay.
paid. She's taking my niece. She's actually bringing my
She
niece
bought
in.
3 tickets.
She bought two. I'm not going with her. Because I was like, I'm not paying that much money for a Beyonce ticket. And then when she bought the ticket when they first came out, she was really pissed because the ticket sales dropped
Yeah, they dropped them.
extremely.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Same thing
Because
with Kendrick Lamar. You know, he was just in Atlanta, and my granddaughter went. She paid $200 for that ticket.
yeah, like mine is like around 300, which is not bad.
No, not to see
I'm shocked.
Beyonce. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
not
a
to see
show. It's
Beyonce.
a complete show. You know,
Yeah,
it's weird. I know I'm way older than you, but the only thing I can
way older.
way older. The only thing I can equal it to in terms of production would be when Earth, Wind, and Fire would do their show, or somebody like that, because it was a big, extravagant production, and that's what I heard Beyonce has. So,
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of, I attended my first Earth, Wind and Fire concert because of you on the Tom Joyner cruise. I mean,
but
that
that you saw them later in the day. You never saw them when they were flying up in the air, and the drummer would disappear, and they had the drummer where he would flip. There's a guy by the name of a magician that helped them put their show together. So in terms of what I've seen and what they have now with Beyonce, I would equate it to that, along with
okay.
Parliament Funkadelic. But they had that same type of big production with the spaceship coming down and everything, and that's what Beyonce has. Yeah.
Mm. Now, speaking of concerts, since we went through Kendrick Lamar, we went through Beyonce. Have you seen Beyond some clips from Mary J. Blige's concert?
When is she gonna stop doing that walk? Because I'm sick of it.
What walk is that?
You know, when like when and what's it? Look, I'm 73. Do you have to still do that once you get? Or can't you just come out?
You got to keep the swag. You got to keep that 90s swag going.
It
You
looks
know?
like it's harder for her to do it now, Nia. If
Nope.
she looks like she. You
She
can
has a
laugh.
hard walk. She
You
has a
can
hard
laugh if you want to.
She looks like the walk is
It
hard.
looked like
But
when she's doing, she's like, I can't believe I still got to do this. Do yeah, that's what they want. Let me get.
hey. Now that part right there, I will agree with. There have been some clips where people are like, girl, if you didn't feel like it, don't show up. Because we paid too much money for this lackluster. You're giving us lackluster,
The
Mary.
show is lackluster.
No, a lot of comments. I love Mary
Mm.
J. Blige,
I'm
y'all.
a big Mary J.
I
Blige fan.
love Mary J. Blige.
Here's another thing you might not know. Every time Mr. Perry, you have to call him Mr. Perry, has his
Really?
big party,
Wait, stop. So on the lot, everybody calls
he's
nobody
yeah,
calls.
you address him as Mr. Perry. No Tyler.
Mm.
No, it ain't. Yeah, yeah. I saw one
Wait,
person say
you call him, you're older than him. You call him Mr. Barry?
he writes the check, Neil.
Oh, I'm just
So yes.
okay. Now go ahead.
I saw one person call him Tyler, and we never saw that person again. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know where they went, but no,
Yep.
you address him. He just it's about him demanding respect on his set and on Tyler Perry Studios, and so you give it to him. Doesn't
Mm,
hurt.
Now, how often do you go to the Tyler Perry lot?
Oh, when we shoot, I don't. It's
Okay.
not. Yeah, when we shoot, we'll be going back sometime in June probably. We
hmm
go back for season 7.
What's the craft service like on the Tyler Perry lot?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anything you want, you just ask for it and they'll get it for you. It's
Mm,
unbelievable. You can absolutely gain a lot of weight by the way he it's top notch. It's top
mm,
notch, you know.
mm, mm,
Top notch food service, and top notch crew. You know, it's one thing that's so amazing. I've been in the show business for quite some time, and to go on these lots like Paramount, you see all white people with these all jobs that black people would never get. You don't see that over at Tyler Perry Studio. Black people with jobs that white people normally would have. I worked
Mm.
on a black show where all the writers were white.
We're not gonna say which show, but I think I know.
D.L. Hughley.
Oh, I had another guess, but okay.
Not the radio show when he first, but you know what, sometimes when you get a deal, you don't have control over your show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have control. You go by, that's me. That's when I had the hook. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So assistant living airs on BET Plus and on BET.
Yes. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what day does it come on?
It's different days now. Most of the time, I think the new show really comes on Tuesday, and sometimes they run it again the next day or at night,
Yeah.
late at night. Yeah.
Or you can always go to BET Plus and
Yeah.
just stream
Hmm.
all the seasons. Why you look so mean in that picture?
Because that's Vinny. Vinny and Mr. Brown always are would go at it all the time. So that's the
So
one they pick.
okay, okay, all right. So Tamala Man, does every now and then does she just burst out in gospel music?
No, she's probably sung on the show twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. In fact, there was a scene, maybe I can set it up, where I'm telling her she's not a good singer. She
Mm.
actually sings a song, and I said, "You're not going to get a job with Kirk Franklin, God's Littlest Christian," which is what I used to call him on the radio. And Mr. Perry said, "That is the funniest thing I ever heard," and they left it in the show. So, no, she sung about twice on the show, but they're really nice and really down there. Mr. Brown is amazing in terms of he not only knows his lines, he knows everybody's lines on the show, and he's directed about 4 or 5 episodes. So
Okay.
he's really good. Really, really good.
I know it's a funny show.
Well,
You know,
thank you.
yeah, it's a very funny show. Speaking of sitcoms, a couple of your friends, Living Single stars Erica Alexander and Kim Coles are teaming up to launch the Living Single podcast, and the project is in collaboration with Kevin Hart's company, LOL Network, and Heartbeat. So it seems
I
like
saw
everybody,
this, but why do you think the other people aren't on there? Because they're
uh,
around.
Queen Latifah ain't got time.
Not Queen Latifah, but
Kim Fields ain't got time. Kim Fields is on Netflix with your boy Mike Epps.
to do a podcast, that doesn't take much time to do. It's
Well,
probably, is this a one-time thing, or they're going to do it
no, it's a
constantly?
podcast. It's a weekly podcast. And it's reliving single.
Well, I've
So
done that show too, and Living Single was Friends is a straight rip off of Living Single, and they
mhm.
made way more money.
And I think they were way funnier on Living Single than they were on
Oh,
Friends.
10 times, yes. Yeah. I've never watched an episode of Friends ever.
I watched a couple. I watched a
I,
couple.
I can't take it.
See, I think Living Single was the first of the Insecures, of the Harlems, and even was what's my favorite show? Sex in the City. You know, I think they're all in lumped in that single women
Well, you're
trying
not really
to
sure about which direction you go in, because, like, I agree with you. A lot of sitcoms had where we got this, we can do this, we can handle this. Living Single showed some undecisiveness in a lot of the characters, and I think that's what made the show, because people could relate to the undecisiveness that those characters had. Each
Mhm.
character had a fault. Each
Right.
character.
And as a black woman, there was each character there was one you could resonate with. You
Who did
know,
you resonate with on the show?
well, I'm Queen Latifah. She was
I knew
in
you were going to
Mia.
say. I knew you were going to say Queen.
She was in
I
Mia.
knew
She
you
was
were going
on
to.
Tall. She had her own magazine. You know what I'm saying?
But that was later. She didn't start off with that. That was later.
She had the magazine. She
She
always
always
had the
had the
magazine.
magazine.
She
Yeah. Well,
always
she
had the
always
magazine.
worked at the magazine place.
Yeah, and no, that was her magazine and the culture. She represented the culture, black
Okay.
culture. What and you know, that's me. You know,
But I do like the relationship between Quinn Field's character and
Matt.
John.
Oh,
Well,
who? Kim Fields and who?
not Kim Fields. Kim. Yeah,
Whitley.
Kim
No, Kim
Whitley and
Cole. Kim Cole. Kim
Kim Cole.
Cole.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's his name? John. What's his name? John. What's his name?
What was his name on the show? What was his? Let's see if somebody could put the name in the chat. What was the name
I
of?
know it wasn't. The only name that comes up tonight is Bookman, but I know it wasn't that.
Well, Trixie said, and Living Color was also funny. Overton. Thank you,
Overton,
Tracy.
right? I was
Overton.
Overton's
Yeah.
uncle. I played his uncle, Uncle Tibby.
Uncle Tibby.
Because Uncle Tibby was a fictitious character that he would talk about. He would quote, "My Uncle Tibby said, Uncle Tibby said, Uncle Tibby." So I guess the producer said, "Well, we need to see who Uncle Tibby was."
Hmm.
I was Uncle Tibby.
So you made a lot of guest appearances in television shows. What was your favorite? Like your favorite show to do a guest appearance on?
Mm, wow. I guess Living Single.
Yeah, that okay. Pick another. We just talked about Living Single. Pick another.
The Steve Harvey Show.
Okay.
I played his best friend on the Steve Harvey Show. Um,
You're still on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. I hear you're Murder the Hits sometimes, right?
they still play me. I haven't been on that show in 2 years.
Oh.
Well, the law is if you come up with something on that particular job,
Mm-hmm.
they own it.
Mm,
So and it keeps me irrelevant. So I let it go.
mm,
People
mm.
coming to me. I heard you this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, what did I say? So I haven't been on haven't been on the show in 2 years.
Are you still doing Murder the Hits?
Yes, yes, but the new ones I do, I can't say on the show. They're not clean songs that I'm doing. I'm not. I've gone
What's
extra.
what's your favorite Murder the Hits?
Probably the Mama song, the Mother's Day song.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. You can play a little bit of it. I think my Mother's Day song is. I think, but the reason the songs came out so good was because of Ralph Hawkins Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He was very adamant in terms of we would get into these big fights. I think it's cool, let it go. No, we're gonna do it over. So but the actual idea for those songs came from Rico Reed when I was working for when I was working for KJLH. And
Mm-hmm.
Rico came with an idea that I should murder song. But here's the thing, back in the day, you couldn't get instrumentals for songs, Niele, so you had to sing over the original song. This is
Mm-hmm.
where Ralph came in and he would create the music for each song.
Mm-hmm.
So those
I
songs were really great.
I was
I've done probably 1,500 songs.
I believe you. I believe you. I saw Ralph at your roast. Was it
Oh
last week?
yeah,
At your comedy roast. And so if you guys don't know, Ralph is the nephew of the
Kathy
very
Hughes.
lovely Kathy Hughes.
Yes.
And so it was good to see him. But since we're on it, let's talk a little bit about your roast. Now, a roast is something that happens to comedians. And
And we're entertainers too. They're not always.
entertainers too. Well, right, entertainers too. And it's brutal. And Jay asked me, he said, "Well, do you want to say something?" I said, "I could get up there and say something, nice about you." And what did you say to me? What did you say?
I said, whatever you say, you got to know I'm coming for blood. I'm just telling
No,
you.
you told me never mind because that's not what a roast is. A roast,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
supposed
a
to
roast
drag
is
you.
not. You're talking about speaking at a funeral. That's what you had something in mind like that. A roast, you go in, you hit as hard as you possibly can, but you have to understand that whoever you roast, they get to speak last.
Mm,
And
mm.
I always say, it's this old saying: if you go for the king, you better kill him. Because I know I hurt some feelings that particular night.
Yeah, you did. You
But
could tell every time somebody said something, you was marking it in your brain. So that because when you got up, you could tell I don't want to forget nobody. Like,
you
damn.
can see it. It's on YouTube. You can check it. It's on Instagram. You can, yeah. But you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the secret. I didn't do that ad lib. I wrote jokes. I wrote those jokes before the roast. I found out who. Let me tell you something. George Burns, I know you probably don't know who he is. He made a quote: the best ad libs are written down. What that means is you got a coworker that you know is going to say something. You wait for them to say it. You've already written your response that will
Mhm.
zing their ass. And that's exactly what I did. like I said, I know I hurt some feelings, but I didn't really care because they had an opportunity to say whatever it is they want. They were saying Jay got cancer, Jay's gonna die, Jay's old, yada yada yada. That was repetition. That was they repeated that a lot. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I'm next. Yeah, okay, yeah.
They actually dragged you and Chris Spencer, but I was just happy that I got the best compliment. I didn't get roasted. I got a nice
That's what you say.
yeah,
They said they didn't. You
I
want
got a
yeah.
nice compliment.
You that's what you heard, but okay. I'm gonna let
They
it go
can't
because
say
I'm on
right,
your show. I'm on your
right.
show.
They can't say it to my face, then
No,
keep
they
it behind
didn't.
my back.
No,
Okay.
but they never said any of those things to my face either. They said it.
Okay, we have a few more headlines to get through, so let's run through them. Sinners. Okay, Sinners is just the gift that keeps on
Unbelievable
giving.
movie.
It's
Unbelievable.
it's returning to IMAX theaters due to high audience demand May 15th through the 21st. But here's another story coming out of the Sinners headlines. In Clarksdale, Mississippi, where Sinners is set, in Mississippi, they have no movie theater. And so the community leaders have gathered along with Michael B. Jordan for a cast visit and screening. Now, my question is this, should they be asking Coogler and Jordan, or should they be asking the movie company that put out the meeting to do this?
Well,
Or
the movie companies don't build. A lot of movie companies don't build movie theaters. You know,
well, neither
AMC,
do
Regal,
Coogler.
huh?
Neither do Coogler and Jordan. They don't build movie theaters. They just make them.
They make it, but the movie theater is usually by whoever wants to invest into opening a movie theater. So I understand that. I mean, I went to school in Denmark, South Carolina. They didn't have a movie theater. So there's a lot of small towns that don't have movie theaters. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie um, In the Heat of the Night. It
Hmm.
was centered around Sparta. And at that particular time, I don't think the city of Sparta had a movie theater. So that happens sometimes. But this is one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And I'm looking for it not to get nominated for a damn thing.
Right, right. And speaking of nominations, after well, let's talk a little Tonys. After making history for the highest grossing play, Candy Burris is expressing disappointment after Othello revival starring Denzel Washington has been snubbed for the 2025 Tony Awards. Candy is saying, "Of course, I'm disappointed." And also, Michelle Williams, member of Destiny Child, was snubbed as well, despite her Broadway hit performance in Death Becomes Her. The play received multiple nods, but Michelle Williams was left out. But the good news, Jay, coming out of the Tonys is that Audra McDonald has become the most nominated performer in Tony history. She also holds the honor of the most awarded performers in Tony history. McDonald's earned a nod this year for her role in Gypsy, and she has been nominated 11 times and she's won 6 awards.
That's really cool. But you have, like I said, you can't be surprised when you get snubbed. And this particular play is making so much money. So just smile when you go to the bank because you know you're going to put out a good product. And at the end of the day, you might get snubbed. The play that's going to really do real good is a play called Old Mary, which is probably the funniest play I've seen in a long time.
Mm,
And
mm.
what they did, it's a play. It predicts on Abraham Lincoln's wife, who was supposed to be a little ditzy. Now they did replace the lead character with a black character, but the black character will not be the one who will be nominated or who would supposedly win the Tony because he didn't star in the play. He just ended up taking his place. But there's several good plays in it. Like you said, you're going to get snubbed. It comes with the territory. I don't see why we're surprised at what's going to happen. I'm looking for Sinners to get snubbed. So you got
Right,
to
right.
understand, Color Purple got snubbed.
Beyonce got snubbed. Okay,
Yeah,
everybody
Beyonce
gets
got
snubbed.
snubbed.
You
Right.
know. Okay, so but
Yeah.
you guys can go take a vacation and forget about it all.
Yeah. You got all that money, and yeah, and you know, black people are running to the theaters to see it. Denzel Washington in a play. Yeah, we're going to see that. So
Right, 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 right. Trixie is saying,
just
okay,
count your BET award that you're gonna win. This yeah, bless.
you know what? So Trixie is saying, okay, Sinners was a good movie, but all that lying about how scary it was made me annoyed. Great movie, but definitely not scary. Thank you, Mike V, for the compliment about this morning's show. We appreciate it. And we're gonna be wrapping up shortly, but Jay, there's this debate that is going around social media, has over 200 million views. Can 100 men
Whoop
beat
a
a
gorilla's
gorilla?
ass.
Yeah, whoop a
Or
gorilla's ass.
100 men against George Wallace's mama. That's also the debate that they have out. I'm putting my money on his mama. I'm really,
You know what?
which, this is really crazy
This
that
is crazy. But let's talk
it's,
about a gorilla. Wait, let's talk about a gorilla. A gorilla weighs between 300 and 500 pounds. A gorilla is 4 to 9 times stronger than a trained human male. They can tear down trees and bend iron, and a gorilla can sprint up to 25 miles per hour. So, can 100 black men beat a gorilla?
yes.
100 black men. They can?
Yeah, I would think they would they would whoop a gorilla's ass. Yeah, I think that gorilla would not
Okay,
stand a
okay,
chance.
let's take a little further. Who's the first five people that's holding the front line? Who's the first 5 men that's holding the line?
I wish we had a young Mr. T. I wish we had your boy from the movie. I wish we'd put him in it. He looks like he could fight. Wesley Snipes. What a lot of people don't know about Wesley Snipes, he really is a fighter. He can really fight. So that's just what says 3 people so far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mm, Magic Johnson's son, because he's
Which
seven
one?
feet.
He got a few sons. Which one you talking
He's
about?
7 feet tall.
Which one are you talking
We draft him. We put him in. He can fight it. He can fight in flats.
Okay, okay. So we so your answer is 100 men could beat a gorilla.
I think. What do you say? A silverback gorilla is one of the strongest animals in the jungle. I'm going to go with the 100 men.
I'm gonna go with the 100 men too.
Yeah.
but but before we let you go, you got so much going on, Jay. Always. I don't think people know that you're a painter. You're a singer. You
I'm
play the
trying to pick up one of my
harmonica.
pictures. I
You're an
don't.
actor, a comedian, and you have this brand called Mofo. What is the Mofo brand?
The Mofo brand is my hot sauce. I have a wine called Drunken in the Mofo, but I can't sell it like that. The distributor would not let me do Drunken in the Mofo. I have my wine, which I have 2 flavors. You can go to J.Anthony Brown, the Mofo Sto STO, and you can see all my products. I have wine, I have hot sauce, and peanuts. Have you had my peanuts, Nia?
Okay.
Have you tried my nuts?
I, Not only have I tried your nuts, I used to count your nuts in your garage. Jay used to have me in his garage. I need an inventory count. It's the same as last week. Ain't nobody bought no nuts.
You didn't sell any.
You didn't sell no nuts. Jay used to
But
have.
the hot sauce is doing very well, and the
I
peanuts are
love the
doing.
hot sauce. I used to put that hot sauce in my bag. I had the peach. I had the habanero. I used to love the hot sauce.
And I have different flavors of nuts. I have salty nuts. I have plain nuts. Why are you laughing? I have some people really like the salty nuts. I have salty nuts, plain nuts, hot nuts, chocolate nuts, and hotter than the mofo nuts. And I'm gonna come out later on with mixed nuts, where I'm mixing all of those together.
Oh my God. Maybe you could give some
But
people
you've had
that.
my nuts, so you like them, right?
I told you about them nuts.
But here's the thing I'm calling you on right now. I'm looking at behind you, and there's not one of those pictures are my pictures. And I'm going to send you a picture to hang up my
Oh,
art
you
that you can hang up behind you.
okay. Well, make sure it's a good
Yeah, but
one because
none of
I
that's
know.
mine.
Right. Yeah, and you
You
are a
went
good
out.
artist. I love the fact that
I can't hear
one of your.
you.
You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you.
Well,
What did you say?
figure out what I'm saying is that one of the biggest pleasures that I had working for you was when you allowed me to curate Annie Lee and the Dudes. And I was able to sit under Andy Lee, and I met Frank Frazier, Charles Bibbs, so many, a Poncho. But the beloved Annie Lee, I have the piece that she gifted me and signed for me over there
What
in the
piece is this?
corner.
Which one is
I
Blue
have the
Monday?
one. I have Blue Monday. I have the one she did of Michelle Obama, and I also bought the one where she has the grandmother and the little girl making
Oh
lemonade.
yeah. You know what she said about my art? I did an art show with her. I actually sold about $10,000 worth of art. She looked at my art and she said, and I quote, she said, "It's ugly, but it'll sell." And I never forgot that. She was one of the most inspiring people in terms of when I started to draw. And I also asked her why she never put faces on her art. She said she wanted people to picture whose ever face that her art related to. I
Mm.
think for me, her best piece is Blue Monday. That is my
Oh yeah,
favorite piece.
that sits in my closet, and
That
sometimes,
says that just says,
whew,
I don't know if I'm going. I'm up, but I might not go. She's right up there with Ernie Barnes. You know, I
mhm,
have an Ernie Barnes too.
yeah, it's, black. I love black art. But we have to wrap up. Greer, do we have an answer for our pop quiz? You were right, Jay. Crispus Attucks, and so was David Youngblood. So was David Youngblood.
You know what's
Um,
so weird about that story? Not only was he the first person, he was. I think I not if the story he was stabbed with the American flag because there's a picture that you can go online where they use the flag to attack him with.
mm, mm,
So yeah,
mm.
Christmas Addis. I remember that from history. Yes.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, our black newspaper of the day is, of course, the Los Angeles Sentinel
Sentinel.
newspaper. Of course, it's known as the voice of the community speaking for itself. The Los Angeles Sentinel has served Southern California for 90 years plus. Now, the weekly publication speaks and advocates for Black Angelenos and is the source for Black news in LA. It was founded in 1933 by Dr. Colonel Leon Washington and his wife Ruth, and it's now owned by civil rights activist and real estate mogul Danny Bakewell Sr. The Sentinel is the home of Taste of Soul, a cultural festival that draws over 100,000 visitors every October. Jay, you
When is that coming up? October?
it's the
Put me
second.
down. I'm gonna have my nuts there.
And one year we did the J Spot on
Yeah,
Crenshaw.
we did with the
That was fun.
comedian from the J Spot. That was great.
That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. Jay, thank you so
No,
much.
thank you. Thank you. Check me out on BET. My new book called The Adventures of Bitter Man is coming out. As soon as we get a publication, I'm gonna send you a copy of it. You're gonna love it. And
Okay,
my art
okay.
book's coming out and everything. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
It's
you.
it's always good to connect with you. It's the weekend, but guess what? Black news does not stop.
It never
So
stops.
it never stops. And you can always log on to blackpressusa.com for the
Watch
latest
out there now.
black for the latest in black news and headlines that are funny, that are uplifting, but most importantly, that captures the black experience. I'm Niele. This is J.Anthony Brown. Have a great weekend.
Watch out there now. I said it twice. So.